The biggest challenge that Asian societies face today is preserving their culture and keeping it intact. Through colonialism and other actions, the West has affected Asian societies in a big way. In India's case, the colonial powers made an attempt to uproot the entire cultural edifice itself. The British imposed their own culture, and an attempt was made to erase the entire Indian culture. But how do we revive and keep our culture intact? I mean, this is how reincarnation works. Once you forget your culture, you have to make a big effort to recollect it. Well, Japanese comics may have an answer. Hi and welcome. You're watching TFI English, the national socio-political analysis arm of TFI Media Group. I'm your host Tribhuvan, and if you haven't subscribed to TFI English channel yet, please hit the subscribe button and press the bell icon to receive all the latest updates. Coming back to the story in this video, I will tell you what India can learn from Japanese comics culture. Let's begin. Have you ever explored the world of Japanese comics? Well, you should. It is quite exciting and also carries a key lesson for Indian civilization on how to preserve cultural heritage. In fact, the Japanese comic system is pretty old, dating back to the 12th century. The system even has a Japanese name, Manga. Manga is extremely popular amongst the Japanese, and it is not as if they are made only for kids. The comics serve both children and adults. Japan's corporate work culture takes a toll on the adults, and they find manga to be a good means of keeping themselves mentally relaxed. The consumption of manga is actually quite high in Japan. Now, the question that might arise here is how manga preserves Japanese culture. Well, this is where manga differs from Western anime comics that are almost based on totally fictional superheroes and serve as mere entertainment material for young kids. Manga is quite intimately linked with Japanese culture, and we can broadly segregate it into three different categories. Comics inspired by Japanese mythology. In this class, you basically have mangas like Sarazanmai, Inuyasha, Naruto and Mushishi to explore the fascinating world of Japanese mythology and belief system. Samurai manga represents the Edo period and the Meiji period of Japanese history. Edo area that continued from 1603 to 1868 was the last period of traditional Japan and marked an era of internal peace and stability. Many mangas like Kaze Hikaru, Samurai Executioner, Oku Shigurui, and House of Five Leaves is based on the Edo period. Similarly, Rurouni Kenshin is based in the Meiji period that represented the clash between the old Japanese belief system and the new belief system. Japan's manga culture shifts beautifully through different eras, but a remarkable feature of manga based in modern times is the focus on converging the present and past. In some of the comic series conceptualized in the present era, a reference to Japanese customs, Shinto and Buddhist religious temples, and samurai is conspicuously visible. There is a lot that India can actually learn from Japan's manga culture. Firstly, we have a number of stories to tell to both adults and children from ancient India. I'm talking about the many plays and poems written by great authors like Kalidas that depict ancient India. The works of such great ancient Indian authors can be directly simplified into comic versions that make them easy to read and grasp for present generation. And then there is a lot of history to be chronicled from Ramayana to Mahabharata and anecdotes in the life of Bhagwan Krishna. Also, there are many such ideas that can be chronicled at a highly local level from different parts of India. Also, there are stories that can be narrated from the point of view of great philosophers, politicians and rulers like Chandragupta Maurya, Chanakya, Maharana Pratap, Maratha rulers and Chola dynasty rulers. To take things further, the story of India's freedom struggle too can be narrated in the form of comics, which can help bring into the spotlight the contribution of several unsung heroes. Today, the world knows about the Japanese belief system and the Japanese tradition of samurai warriors, mostly through their comic culture. This is how Japan has kept its culture alive and intact, and it is time India should also start following Japan's comic system to keep its own culture preserved.